The FIM CEV Repsol travels to France for the third round of the season at the Le Mans Bugatti circuit, with the Moto3 riders here taking part. It will certainly be a memorable experience for the young riders of the FIM Moto3 Junior World Championship, as the race coincides with the MotoGP World Championship on the occasion of the Chartres Grand Prix de France. Yuki Kuni of the Asia Talent team will be defending his position as the leader of the category against Javier Artigas of the Leopard Junior team, who trails by just a single point, as well as the other close rivals such as Barry Baltas and Jeremy Alcoba, third and fourth respectively, both tied on 41 points to the leaders. And then Ryusai Yamanaka was fifth with 37 points. We have had three different winners so far in the season. Three different races, three different winners. Will we get a fourth here today? Not long until we find out. Well, it's a very good afternoon to you then. Myself, Matt Dunn, alongside me, Fran Wild, bringing you the coverage of here today. We are here in France, at a very rainy France, and actually conditions now are somewhat similar to what the riders actually faced this morning in warm-up. But this is your starting grid. Fran, you were present at the last round as well. What on earth can we take away from all that?
I think it's going to be a very interesting race. We saw these guys race in, well, actually much worse conditions, but wet nonetheless, in the first round of the season in Estoril. And yeah, it should be a very interesting one after we had two very sunny races in Valencia, to see how the conditions can mix this one up. And it certainly did so a little bit in qualifying. And here we have some of the highlights from that last round in Valencia. You can see blazing blue skies, absolutely glorious, and a little bit of drama though, not least of all for that man who's just on your screen there, who suffered a technical problem and another crash as well in one of the other races that weekend. Has really dented his place in the standings, and at the moment it's fellow favourite Yuki Kuni on the number 33 Asia Talent Team machine, who's got that early advantage. But yeah, I think definitely going to be something a bit different to the drama we saw despite that sunshine in Valencia here, as we have, yes, like we said, rainy, although we're not pouring it down. Definitely going to be an interesting race, I think, here at, again, Le Mans, a very different track to that of Valencia.
Absolutely, couldn't be more different if we tried. There is the third of your three winners taking victory there as we head here to, of course, the Le Mans circuit.
Yeah, it was Ryusei Yamanaka and Yuki Kuni in that race in Valencia, race 2, who duelled it out. But it's Yuki Kuni who is back on top here, certainly after qualifying. The Japanese rider taking his second pole of the season, and starting to look pretty imperious, although he did notably struggle a little bit more when it was wet at Estoril. So something to watch for in the race.
Absolutely, and make no mistake as well, since their time out in Valencia a few weeks ago, these guys also raced just 2 weeks ago, in fact, at the Jerez Grand Prix. Not all of them, but a fair few of the big hitters in this class, racing the Red Bull Rookies Red Bull MotoGP Rookies Cup.
There we go.
There we are. Where Yuki Kuni also shone there as well. And Fran, you were thinking of coming away from that weekend. I mean, it's very early days in the season, but could Yuki Kuni be the first ever Moto3 Junior World Champion and Red Bull Rookies Champion this year? He's certainly on the way to do so.
If I were a betting woman, I might be tempted to put more than just a few yen on that, to be honest. Really in
the
good
local
form.
Currency as well.
I know, I'm just, you know, pushing all the stops out today. But yeah, absolutely impressive performance from Kuni in both championships so far. Like we said, minus that sort of blip in Estoril, but here we should see, I think, maybe a little bit calmer Kuni than we saw in Estoril when he did go into that race as big favourite. The conditions were really awful in Portugal, really windy, really wet, you know, pretty nightmarish start for these guys in their first race of the championship. So we might get a bit more of a settled and calmer Kuni from pole today, despite the fact that the conditions definitely could be better.
He might try to be calm, but I'm sure it's going to be anything but that as they get down on the grid and be taken off from the lights. And we've just had some very, very dramatic sessions in the World Championship qualifying sessions, Moto3, MotoGP and Moto2. A bit of a crash fest, especially in that most recent Moto2 session. These conditions out here are very, very tricky indeed.
They are. It does seem like it may be a little bit drier on our long walk to the commentary box through the paddock. Certainly, it's not pouring down with rain by any means, but still enough damp patches and water out there to yeah, make these guys think twice before really gassing it straight off the line. I think the start is going to be pretty crucial with so many looking to get through that first corner and the conditions pretty unknown.
Yeah, what we've seen so far this weekend, turn 3, or what many would probably think is turn 2, the start of that first chicane after the long sweeping right-hander that they have just after the start and finish line. Well, that's claimed many riders throughout, and it's such a tight section, especially with up to about 38 riders we have here at the round here that we have in Le Mans. Well, try and fit 38 riders all through that one corner, all jostling for different lines. It's going to be a little bit chaotic.
I think it may be, but you can see some early rivalries there. Block move from the IO squad down on the grid.
12th place grid penalty.
Yeah, so Cooney making his way through to pole. And then you can see, I think that's Alberto Puch down there on the left, just having a chat with Cooney ahead of the race. So that's always good to see. Obviously a big figure in the talent promotion programs.
Oh, well, we have first name, last name about to appear with us on the track.
Obviously changed passport very quickly.
Yeah, exactly, but a little bit of news actually before we get going. Last year's poleman and winner from this race, Aleix Bew, will not actually be riding here in the race today. A crash that kept him out of Q1 has actually not disallowed him to be carrying it through with the race weekend, which is a big shame for him.
It is, definitely. So this man will definitely be looking to fill his boots. As you can see, names come up there now. Yuki Cooney is looking pretty good this season. Saw him on Saturday. No, sorry, it's Saturday today, Friday. And said, hope I'll see you tomorrow. And he said, yes, I'll see you in Parc Ferme.
I like that
so
sort of
obviously
attitude.
good confidence there. But likewise, this man got plenty to be confident about. Pretty good season so far for Jeremy Alcoba. 17, but a pretty veteran rider in the CEV field. Yeah, lots and lots of experience. Last year on the Estrella Galicia machine, and this year moving over to that Leglise bike. So hello, yes, you're on TV. Nice wave there. I love it when you get that slight delay as they realise.
Absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, so Alcoba could definitely be one to watch, although struggled a little bit more in Estoril. And Davide Pizzoli, as you can see, Estoril also DNF for him. So a few riders maybe would have been wishing for drier skies today, but the front row certainly is the first part of the job done.
Yes, do tend to agree, though I think Pizzoli had not a too bad a ride out last time we were out. Valencia race 1, third on the podium, which is a pretty good result for him. I think it was just a photo finish or so, just across the line, not far behind Alcoba himself.
That was one of those thrillers where I get down to Parc Ferme to do the interviews and then have to ask who won.
Yes.
Because they're all confused and like, oh, have I pulled in front of the right number? Like,
yeah,
it was so tight. So yeah, great races in Valencia. And Estoril too, but very different characteristics, obviously, as often happens when it's a bit rainy.
Quite exactly that. Well, yes, Jeremy Alcoba, one to watch, I think. Well, there's, looking down the grid, plenty of guys who are ones to watch down here. I really think the championship is wide open in terms of who can get the wins and what not. But this will be number 20, Jose Garcia.
Yeah, definitely another one to watch. But yeah, on the podium in Estoril in those wetter conditions. I think also someone that I imagine is not going to show up on your screens due to his grid position is Barry Baltus, the Estoril winner. And yeah, he really impressed in Estoril, won that race. Struggled a little bit more, although had 2 really good points finishers in Valencia in the dry. But I think definitely showed he's got some serious wet weather chops in Portugal. So it could be an interesting one down from yeah, that row on the grid.
15th on the grid.
Exactly. Come up from the ETC, so not the most experienced in this, but should be a good one.
Yeah, pretty lucky, to be honest, to actually be even competing this weekend after that horrendous crash that he had in the Red Bull Rookies Cup right at the end of race 2. He came together along with both Yuki Cooney and of course, who was the other rider in the race to the podium? It hit the back of Yuki Cooney, no less, pinned against the wall by his own bike, but walked away with absolutely no injuries. Ridiculous.
Yeah, there's been some fairly dramatic crashes for some of the juniors of late. We also had one in the ETC over the line in Estoril with, yeah, just sudden carnage, but yeah, here and able to race, which is the most important thing, of course.
Yes, absolutely.
You're looking at me.
No, it was Carlos Tate, of course, who he nearly hit the back off as well.
Yeah, there we go.
But, we're getting confused with the numbers there. Of course, some of them, yes, you will be familiar faces on this grid with some of the riders from the Red Bull Rookies.
You will indeed. And Carlos Tate, I believe, from my insider source yesterday when he visited our office in the media centre, is a budding YouTuber.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Wow, Excellent. Well,
if you want
to improve your Spanish, I suppose, because I'm not guessing he doesn't do it in English.
I imagine it's probably Spanish native content, but definitely one to watch. And Dennis Onchu then, 7th on the grid, expected championship challenger, but like we said, pretty torrid so far. Crash in Estoril, problem and a crash in Valencia. But yeah, some fairly good pace there to get himself 7th on the grid. Obviously, only his 2nd year in the series. But yeah, we'll hopefully be seeing a little bit more from him today, and hopefully he'll get some big points on the board now to really kick his campaign into gear.
Well, I'll tell you what, he definitely needs to, because it is about time that he gets his championship fight on track. I mean, we saw how good he and his brother have been, both in Red Bull Rookies Cup over the last few years, and also the Asia Talent Cup. Dennis himself, the former Asia Talent Cup champion. Last year, his brother Jan, the Red Bull Rookies Cup champion. This is his 2nd year of the class, as you say, but can't be with so few rounds in this class compared to maybe some viewers watching the Moto3 Senior World Championship. That he can't afford another DNF.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the thing as well. If you do crash and then also injure yourself or still feeling the after effects, and you've got 2 races in one day, it can affect the 2nd one as well. It's a pretty high pressure series, like we said. Not quite as many rounds as Moto3 Senior, as we'll say, World Championship. And yeah, sometimes 50 points on the board in a single day.
Which is part of the reason why these guys also compete in the other series as well, to make sure they get a full season of racing in and keep improving. I mean, just a few rounds is probably not enough to be making the improvements you need to make when you're 14, 15, 16 years old.
Yeah, exactly. There's quite a few who do multiple disciplines, and of course in the Red Bull Rookies Cup on KTM, and then here many not on that. Quite. Which is always good experience as well. And you can see some fairly familiar names, I'm sure, for you all on the grid. And
the man who's amongst all these guys got whole shots the last time out. These guys were racing in the Red Bull Rookies Cup. Well, Haruki Noguchi, runner-up in last year's Asia Talent Cup, he certainly won't be doing that from 20th place on the grid, row 7, that's for sure.
It would be fairly impressive, and I also imagine he'll be one of the most cautious off the line due to having got the whole shot and then immediately binned it in turn 1 at Sepang in the Asia Talent Cup.
Yes, quite.
So I'm sure he'll be very, very aware of that memory, thinking he feels absolutely great and he's absolutely nailed it, and then suddenly just straight onto the floor.
Precisely.
So these things can happen. This is why they're here, to learn and not repeat that mistake. And Noguchi certainly missed that first round due to injury, and now is back and scored some solid points in Valencia. So he definitely already learning more than a little, I think, and they're really starting to gain some traction now.
Yes, you would hope so. Now, Fan, as I'm looking down the grid there, I'm seeing 5, 6, 7, 8 riders who could easily get this win here. A few who have qualified really well in the conditions from yesterday, but there's some who might not have historically gone as well in the wet. Just looking at the back there, that is probably, that in your view was actually Billy Van Erde, who had a shocker of a qualifying session there, did the junior talent team rider back in 34th on the grid, and actually he's had an absolute nightmare. He failed to finish both Red Bull Rookies races a couple of weeks ago, and before that, back in Valencia, he failed to finish both races there. He actually followed Dennis Onchu into the gravel, almost in sympathy at the beginning of race 2.
Yeah, it was a little ATC party there for champions, current and former. But yeah, definitely. But obviously, Bill Van Erde not got the most experience in the ATC, although he did win it. He was one of those who just learned and progressed so quickly that he was able to take that championship, whereas the likes of Noguchi have been in there a bit longer and been running at the front a bit longer, so probably finding it just that bit easier to adapt rather than it feeling like a sudden another big step.
Well, quite exactly. Well, we wish the best to him for this race. He's at the back there, cruising round at the front of the field, though, cruising around in this warm-up lap. Jose Garcia will be hoping to have a better race this time around compared to 12 months ago, where at that corner he binned it in the early stages, did not get back on to finish. Very annoyed with himself. He was indeed the number 20, but not so long until we find out now. Time to get those tyres heated up. 15 degrees centigrade this morning. I think it was 12 degrees around when these guys actually went out on track. It was a little bit damp, as we said, on the way on the walk here to the commentary box. Was just spitting with rain a little bit, so it's not going to be drying so much at the beginning, but as more rubber laid down and more rubber laid down, especially from the Moto2 qualifying we just had as well, the track temperature should be rising a little bit more grip out there, but going to be slippy and treacherous. There's 37 riders out there.
Yeah, it's a big field. It always is in the CV, and when you see them, especially at Le Mans, when you have that direct comparison with the sort of the other grids, you can really see how many bikes there are and how busy it is, especially on the warm-up lap, and then when they're lining up on the grid. But I think as for conditions, I think I have a good comparison to let the viewers know maybe how it is.
Yes.
It's raining enough for a girl who wants to protect her hair to put up an umbrella, but not enough for it to really
or a man
bother.
who wants to protect his curls.
Well, of course. But not quite enough to bother those less sensitive. So it's not real rain.
No.
But there are just enough spots, certainly coming down onto these guys' visors.
Yeah.
That's going to be something to think about as well, because even if the grip's there, which it quite likely will be with, like we say, so many bikes going around this track, they're still going to get that on their visors, and that's enough to really make them nervous.
Well, I think Michael Rutter would refer to it as mental rain, to be quite honest with you, for a very niche reference there for some of our viewers watching from home.
Razor sharp.
Oh, no, Blade. Well, there we are. So Yuki Cooney lines up. Every race is a massive race for him now. He leads the championship at the start of this race. Will he still be leading it at the end of it? He's alongside Jeremy Alcover there, and Davide Pizzoli filling out the front row. Who is going to get the jump on the lights? Who's going to get the whole shot? It is not going to be Haruki Noguchi like he did in the Red Bull Rookies. Not long until we get underway with this one. The lights are on. And then they're out, and it's a great start from all of them there. No jumps on that one, it seemed, and it looks like Yuki Cooney has got the jump on all of his guys, and it's going to be very, very tight down to turn one. Carlos Tante coming up the inside, and then you've got Dennis Omju there. What's going to be happening up into turn 3?
That was an incredible start from Onchi, like you said, just sliced there from 7th on the grid straight up into 2nd and right on the tail of one of his key rivals this season. Great from the Turk, and yeah, a little bit of a shuffle through there, as you can see. Ooh, and we've already got someone down.
Who is that? Is that Stefano Neppa, the number 82? It was definitely a number 80 there with the Avintia squad. Could have been Kawakami, in fact. But we will find out about that shortly as we get some classifications on our board. But look at this, Yuki Cooney leading the way.
He is, and already a little bit of a gap for the Japanese rider. Pretty brave. Obviously, he has the added advantage of not having any spray coming back at him because he's the first guy on the road. Dennis Onchi there just lost out a little bit, now down into 3rd. Looks like Alcoba might be attacking as well. Yep. So the Turk now just moving back a little bit, but still well ahead of where he started, which is a job well done.
Well, I tell you what, Fran, I think that was Kawakami who went down, because I can see the number 82 of Stefano Neppa in the background. I think I saw, but that is Carlos Tate, one of his teammates there, ahead of the 96 of Daniel Holgado, another front runner that we've seen in the last few races as well. But Alcoba has got the jump on Garcia. The number 20's managed to keep it upright so far. An improvement on last year. Just moves up the inside. Why are you looking back there, son? He's trying to say, let's go and catch Cooney before he gets away.
I love it. They always try it. They always try and say, oh, stick behind me.
It's not a social job, boys. You're racing. Carry on. Oh, we do have more.
Another
that's Mariachi. Oh, Super Mario's down, and that's a big collision that he's had there. Can't see the number on the front, but that's a very, very dented Honda.
And that's such a shame as well, with the Indonesian rider having seriously shone in Estoril in those difficult conditions there. Amazing wet weather pace from him, so that's a real shame on this biggest stage of the season. Looked like they were both up and okay at least.
Yeah, Super Mario loves those sorts of conditions, as do many of the guys here from the Far East. They are absolutely well adapted to it. Still can't work out who that quite is on there, but here's the replay of it. Oh, and he just wiped out, actually, he had nowhere to go.
And then Max Cook as well, a teammate, getting a bit caught up in that and forced off into the gravel. Looks like the British Talent Team rider, if it continued as he had it under control in that replay, hopefully he managed to get back on the track, but I imagine quite a way down the order. And we have a run-off for Alcoba as well. Just a little bit overcooked there, manages to stay on at least and no gravel tripping.
Who's that down? That looked like number 18. That's Van der Lagemat, is it? The Dutchman. We saw him last year doing a wild card in the Moto3 World Championship. Looks like he's gone down, but Cooney not being reined in quite yet, but Jose Garcia not letting him get away by any means.
No, that gap at the moment is enough for Cooney to have a little bit of breathing space, rather. But yeah, Garcia definitely no slouch, and yeah, comfortably in 2nd at the moment. Impressive from the Spaniard.
Fran, I'd like to draw your attention to the number 7 in the background of your photo there, Barry Baltas. He started from 15th on the grid. I thought I saw him coming up through the... Oh, we had a different shot. Then there he is, Barry Baltas, the number 7. Well, excellent. What an improvement that is. If he's 5th place there, he's made that 10 places. How about that for your GCSE preschool math? But Jeremy Alcoba, a bit of a recovery here against Daniel Holgado. He's gone up the inside. Oh, he just cuts the nose off Barry Baltas there as we come into the final sector. He's going to get him on the switchback. Doesn't look like it.
No, I think, yeah, Baltas, I said, obviously in the conditions in Estoril, absolute superstar of the race. And yeah, it wasn't Van der Lagermaat there. You can see a bit of a slower ride background. It looks like he's probably not continuing on. Given the time he's given up here. Here we have a look at what happened to the Dutchman. Just lost it.
Yeah,
and
too much speed on
fairly
entry.
Low drama, but unfortunately high consequences for him there. And yeah. Anyway, so what are we saying? Barry Baltus, superstar off the start so far, and the man who previously had that title, certainly off the line, Dennis Onchu, now down in 12th, according to our timing screen.
Has been absolutely
have a look for that IO machine. Yeah, seems to have really lost out since that initial great getaway. And you can see now Cooney just starting to pull away a little bit. It's 1.3 seconds at the last point, as you can see on the graphics there, that gap was measured. I'd say it's gone up again already.
Oh, who's that down? Is that?
That's Yamanaka.
It is Yamanaka.
That's really bad luck from him after that first win last time out as well.
He was 9th on the grid as well, so what a disaster for him. This was potentially a really good result for him, especially as he won last time out as well. Oh, that way too much speed going into turn 6 there. What a disaster for your winner last time out in Valencia.
Yeah, but I think we've seen plenty with even more impressive CVs unfortunately make that mistake today. Happens to the best of us when conditions are this difficult. It's so easy. And yeah, unfortunately, not the place you want to do it when you're racing alongside a MotoGP, all the adrenaline of that. But here you can see Alcoba responding to his little run-off by making some good progress back through here, and seems to have got it all sorted out now and ironed out. But I spoke to Soon and Gossi, it is exactly the same.
Is this a replay from a couple of laps to go?
Exactly the same thing, and Baltus there attacking on Holgado, and he's through now as well. So these guys on the move, certainly amongst themselves, have to see how that gap changes to Cooney at the front next time we get it measured.
Well, they don't want to be messing around too much, as it looked like, oh well, it looked like Alcoba had a bit of a look up the inside of Garcia again, but decided against it. Well, he's definitely not let Garcia get away, but he was chasing down Cooney. That gap is opening up again. What is it as they cross the line? 2.4 seconds now compared to 1.3 seconds before.
That's impressive from Cooney. Like we said, it didn't shine in the wet and Estoril, but here in these mixed conditions so far, absolutely pitch perfect from the championship leader and poleman. And Jeremy Alcoba certainly now seems like he's got it together, and he's managed to make his way back past Garcia. But have to see now, these guys have really got to stop squabbling if they expect to be able to really get back that advantage that Cooney has at the moment. And I imagine Baltus, given the progress he showed so far, will be choosing a moment to try and pounce very soon if he thinks he's got the pace to try and hunt down the leader.
Yeah, well, exactly. And at this moment, it does actually look like Yuki Cooney's to lose. And I'm just looking for the number 24 of Javier Artigas. He started 18th on the grid. He's the man second, it seems, at the moment in the championship. But, well, he's definitely going to lose it at the moment. Where is he? He's way down the order. 10th, though. That's a pretty good improvement from him. 8 places at this point, but with 14 laps to go, he's got one hell of a job on if he wants to catch these guys, get anywhere near that podium.
He has indeed, and I'm sure Baltus, obviously with a lot less experience, like we said, coming up from the European Talent Cup after winning in Estoril last year, and then some races the rest of the season in the CV last year, but a fairly fresh face still compared to those he's largely racing, and I'm sure he'll be very happy to see these conditions that he goes so well in, to able to get him another good haul of points and keep his place in the standings. But Artigas at the moment, like you said, really is the man who stands to lose out if he can't make a little bit more progress through the field.
He absolutely does, and in the background of your screens there, you can also see Maximilian Koffler trying to catch these guys down in that sort of second chase group or so. The teammate of the number 7 there of Barry Baltus coming down into the final set of corners again. No room through for Barry Baltus on Jeremy Alcoba. The man who I'm pretty sure, who on earth has he upset? He should have been in the Moto3 Senior World Championship a long time ago with the amount of strong finishes and strong championship standing finishes he's had. But he's showing his experience now. He's just pulling away from Barry Baltus there, and he looks to be on the hunt down of Yuki Cooney. But Cooney again has pulled out and more of the lead on that lap. 3.3 seconds now, so he's a lap quicker in these conditions, Fran.
Yeah, it's really impressive from the Japanese now veteran. Here we get a replay of the start. So you can see, obviously, Pizzoli was the guy who really lost out off that front row. Cooney, pretty perfect. Alcoba, good job, solid start, and it was Onshu there, slicing through into second, who made a big impression off the line.
Well, we just got a view before this replay of Kawakami, and that was him going down there. So he has rejoined and got back up. He's already got scuffed leathers there completely from another accident, but he has rejoined. He's up into 20th place at the moment, which is pretty impressive, you know, given that he crashed at the first corner so far, but not as impressive as this man, though. Yuki Cooney affirming why he is the championship leader so far.
Absolutely, yeah, really imperious so far, and it looks like conditions are getting better and better, which for him will also be better and better. But yeah, Alcoba now definitely pulled a little bit of a gap there, just got that little bit of breathing space ahead of Baltus. And these guys, at least the one good thing, if there's a little bit more space between them, they're not wasting their own time by squabbling over it, and they're not going to, you know, drop off any more time than is necessary.
I think they realise now it's nearly getting towards now or never for these boys, where they're trying to catch Yuki Cooney, not just in this race, but in this championship. They can't be stepping over each other's toes, trying to take each other out or anything like that. But look at Barry Baltus, he's just a little bit inferior on the brakes compared to Jeremy Alcoba there. Just braked a little bit later. He really pulled out a gap last time around, but they're both of them actually just starting to pull away from Jose Garcia. Here's what they come across the line. 4.4 seconds now is the gap to Cooney. Well, there we have it. Got to be his to lose.
I think definitely now it's Yuki Cooney versus Yuki Cooney. And obviously, unless he has some sort of mechanical issue, the other factor that could come into play. But yeah, unless he makes a mistake now, or unless there is some sort of crazy sudden downpour, just in a class of his own at the moment, 4 seconds is really not something these guys are going to be able to close down in 12 laps of Le Mans, I would imagine. Not in his current form. He'd have to have an absolute disaster. But look at the dry lines have been forming. He's barely went anywhere now. I mean, I won't be stepping off line too much, but there is the dry line is forming, and it's bigger and bigger. Well, it's probably around half the asphalt, depending on where you're looking. Just don't go out on the edges. Watch those white lines. But yes, looking fairly prime conditions. Now, what lap times are we running here? Trying to find it down there. The best lap Yuki Cooney's been running a 1:51.743. Best lap from Alcoba 1:52.871. Wow. Yeah, that's impressive stuff. I looked at the wrong part of the timing screen then, saw a 9-minute lap.
I mean, my eyes went all over the place trying to find him. I thought, where on earth is it?
Yeah, but yeah, really, really solid job from Cooney, and dealing with the pressure really, really well this season so far. And yeah, just good stuff from him. And that gap, like we said, really impressive. And there you can see, look back again, lads, concentrate on the road ahead.
Yeah, precisely. I mean, very much of that going on here. Things they'll learn throughout their career. All that was getting a little bit spicy.
For it then.
Yes, I did too. But Alcoba, how hard does he brake into these final 2 turns? It's still a little bit superior compared to Baltus just behind him. And as I mentioned before, it is actually even a pretty minor miracle that he's even here this weekend racing, not suffering any injuries from that massive Red Bull Rookies crash he had with Tate and Cooney just a couple of weeks ago. And you can see just in the background there, Maximilian Koffler, is he going to be able to chase these guys down? Well, can't seem so. But also looking at the down the times, a man in second place in the championship, Artigas, up to 8th place now. Yeah,
it's one thing on Koffler, I think his pace this season is not shown in the standings at all. There've been a few mistakes and a bit of drama for him, but he has actually been pretty solid and pretty fast. So it's good at the moment. He's having a fairly drama-free afternoon, and yeah, 6th place, if that's where he ends this race, is a pretty good day's work for him, because yeah, he deserves a little bit more than the points he's got on the board from that Estoril race, which is just 4. So could be one to watch if you can just iron out those issues. But at the moment, this gaggle seemed to be a bit of a concertina effect going on here, getting a little bit closer together and then a little bit further out. So here we have, I always immediately want to say Julio, I apologize, Inigo Iglesias. He's not an older Spanish legendary singer. I know, I'm not even that old, but for some reason it's his dad that comes to mind. Yeah, but yeah, unfortunately, jump start, obviously we've seen a few high-profile examples of that in the Premier class of Grand Prix racing lately, so easily done, if heartbreaking when you do it. So he's headed through for that ride through, and good to see he's gone for the ride through and not attempted to do the long lap penalty. So yes, maybe precisely. That catching disease is starting to disappear. Yeah, Max Cook knows exactly how he feels after his Red Bull Rookies ride through that he had a couple of weeks ago. Max Cook, for British Talent Cup fans, is moved up to 24th after his, run-off earlier, got caught up in that Agi crash.
but not bad from him. And looking at Dennis Onju as well, the man who's had an absolutely superb start, but has since been swallowed up. I'd love to re-watch this race and see exactly what happened to him. Still down in 12th at the moment, so not going any further back than that, but pretty much very steady away from him. But then again, he's had no points so far this season. Just get those points, Sunshine.
I guess, yeah, if he is feeling like he's not quite comfortable in these conditions, then he will be one that's looking for points on the board. But if you're championship challenger, the points on the board that you're going to get for 13th, 14th, is it worth really not taking that risk and trying to get a bit more from it? Have to see. Hopefully it's not a sort of problem for the Turk, but at the moment he's fighting it out with Matteo Bertelli, one of the ETC graduates. So there's some interesting names in that little midfield, and some duels and little three-way fights going on. Adrian Fernandez, brother of reigning Moto3 Junior World Champion Raul, who is well, qualified 8th, but will start a little bit further back in Moto3. He's having a great ride at the moment in 12th place. Really, really impressive from him. Yeah, the youngster, just first season in the cup, and yeah, really in the cup, in the championship.
He's demoted Onju down to 14th along with Bertel.
Very impressive stuff. Very, very impressive stuff from him. And yeah, the likes of Noguchi as well, pretty impressive. Just a couple of tenths off some points is the Japanese two-time Asia Talent Cup runner-up. So that's good stuff. We'll have to see how that goes. And Max Cook has made up a position into 23rd as well. So on the fight back for the British rider.
Yeah, he's overtaking Mahadi of the Sikh junior team. But as we've been talking, Yuki Kuni's still been thundering around quicker still. 5.3 seconds was the gap last time around. He's going to be completing this lap again now. It's going to be over 6 seconds. Perhaps it's possible. I think those guys behind him have accepted that now that lead has got 10 laps to go, though. We're still not halfway through this race. Some disaster can befall Yuki Kuni if he's not careful. They're going to cross the line now, 5.6 seconds back.
Yeah, it's just pounding around, putting those laps in. Looks very, very controlled, does Kuni, completely in control of this race at the moment, and still significantly quicker than the guys chasing him down. And at the moment, though, is as you were in this group, a little bit surprised there's not been a few more squabbles here, or one of them able to pull away. And will be an interesting one, I think, to see as the conditions continue drying. Like I say, we've got quite a few laps to go still. Who out of those four is going to be able to really pull the pin, maybe, and head away from that little gaggle?
Well, we did see a few laps ago, Jeremy Alcoba tapped the rear seat unit, and it seems to be, this might be the first ever case, ladies and gentlemen, that the riders behind actually listen to that, and they are not swapping for position. My goodness, what they decided.
Make a note in your diaries.
Exactly. Well, that will be on the statistics coming from MotoGP, Tom Morcellino next time around when we get to the next race. But Yuki Kuni just thundering around.
Absolutely. I was worried then that that replay was going to show some sort of wobble or mistake or something from the Japanese rider, and immediately proved me wrong. But no, all calm and fine at the front. But yeah, should be hopefully now just a nice, concentrated, calm run towards the finish for Kuni after he's done all that hard work early on. They're so far behind, like we said, over 5 seconds last time around. It's just a question of keeping it cool and avoiding those errors, and not letting yourself get too distracted by anything, and just keep your head in the game. Well, here we see.
Yes, these guys, we said they weren't squabbling, but it seems Barry Baltus and Garcia have decided that they're going to be swapping positions around. Garcia decided he would make a move through. He can go a little bit quicker than Barry Baltus at this stage. Does he think he can overtake Alcoba ahead of him and then make a move? There says the Baltus, get behind me, Sunshine. I don't know who he thinks he's going to catch. Alcoba's just ahead of him. He could try and make a move and him up into turn 3 if he really wanted, but maybe they're seeing that Alcoba is able to pull away in certain parts of the track.
Maybe, yeah, definitely a pretty interesting changing sort of gaps between these few. Oh, there we go. I love that phrase. I was trying to get that translated into Spanish yesterday. Apparently it doesn't exist, so I had to give up on that. But yeah, it seems a pretty interesting fight, that one. What we also saw in Valencia from Alcoba was that once he sort of not decided, but rather realised that he's not going to be able to probably challenge for the win, very, very clever in just making sure that no one else is able to get past him or really escape and take a second or a third off him, and just make sure that he's in that group and fighting it out and keeping himself in the fight for the podium. So good stuff from him. Obviously not needed to do that so much yet, but as you saw in the back of shot there, it looks like Garcia has just got past him, so maybe now we will see the veteran Spaniard fighting back a little bit. Not there, not straight away, but certainly looks keen to probably try and make a move in return. But then what has Garcia got? Can we see something more from him?
Yeah, it's quite possible. I mean, as we carry on in this race, I think the riders mostly started would have started the race on wet tyres, or at least some sort of cut tyres there. You can see the slice down the middle of all of them. The track doesn't seem to be getting any wetter, that's for sure. So could tyre wear be coming into play? I mean, it does naturally anyways, but will it be a more exaggerated effect as we carry on? What if Alcoba, trying to lead out front, has been using up his tyres a bit more? Barry Bouters has overtaken him now. So what if these two are seeing his tyres and seeing him running wide in places, thinking, haha, we've got you here, so we're going to make a move and see you later, pal? Yeah,
it's always an interesting question, I think, when you start on wets, but then it's drying significantly and fairly early in the race. Then obviously, I mean, the key issue with that quite often can be that then they're going to wear out the tread, and then if it rains again, they're essentially not got wet tyres on anymore because they're not much use, because it's all been sort of burnt off by the dry track. But here, certainly, it doesn't look like we're going to get any more significant showers at the moment. So that could be, yeah, a pretty interesting factor, definitely. But Cooney at the moment still solid at the front, 7 seconds ahead of this fight. Now, can Garcia do anything about it?
Well, can Garcia do anything about it? Alcoba's not content with letting Barry Bouters pass him. He says, absolutely not. I'll let Garcia go ahead of me, but you are staying behind. Get back where you belong, mate. But Garcia, in that sort of mild melee, has managed to pull out a few more bike lanes, but won't be long before they can catch him back in. Some big slipstreaming zones coming up. Holgado, though, in the background is really interesting for me. What if he's just saving himself for those last few laps to make a move on these guys? Holgado, of course, got that podium last time out, and also 4th place in race 1 in Valencia 2. He is absolutely no mug. He wouldn't even be in that Estrella Galicia junior team if he was.
Absolutely, yeah, that team known as a very, very solid discoverer and nurturer of talent. Obviously, you know, many names in on their CV rather as riders, and at the moment there's quite a few youngsters in the squad, and Holgado, having moved up and impressed so quickly, definitely one to watch. Like you said, podium finisher already, and yeah, still very much in this fight, just nice and quietly sat there in 4th. Maybe, like you say, that is just him being content to watch these guys squabble a little bit more, knowing that, you know, they're not going to get away from him. If he thinks he's got the pace to stay with them, no harm, no cry. I don't know what I was going for there. But there's a freeze in there somewhere.
But yes, well, I hope, without wishing the commentators curse him, he doesn't seem too on the limit at the moment. These guys, they're not really pushing to find to try and hunt down Yuki Cooney, doing nothing too mad at the moment. What is the gap now as they come across the finish line? 7.8 seconds. What a mission he is on.
I'm already trying to think up the adjectives for the headline for Cooney, for the junior talent team later. Very impressive from the Japanese rider. Really is. Like you said as well, it's one thing winning by a massive margin in the dry. It's quite another thing doing it when the conditions are so mixed and when you've been the guinea pig right from the start. And really, you know, facing those conditions first, and no one ahead of you to give you a clue of where you can brake or who's gone wide where or what it might be like. So really impressive stuff from him, and yeah, it's getting a bit feistier back here now.
Yes, Alcoba's going back into the lead of this group for 2nd place, battling for 2nd, sorry. Again, ahead of Garcia. Bouters just let him get away a bit, and look who's in the background there. Are they seem to be catching up a little bit more? Carlos Tate, the number 99 in 6th place. Well, that's 4 seconds, well, 3.4 seconds between him and Holgado. Tate has overtaken Max Koffler, so are we going to see any more upsets? Well, 6 laps to go. We've had just over 10 laps, or anything is possible in this race.
It is definitely, yeah, that gap. Well, yeah, exactly. That gap, like you said, not that huge, but we'll have to keep an eye on it, certainly. You can see Tatai there on the number 99 machine. Just, yeah, it certainly seems like he might have an answer, at least for those behind him, and be able to pull away from them. But something to keep an eye on, like you said. Adrian Fernandez checking in with the impressive youngster. He's now up into 10th. And Xavier Artigas as well is one who's made some good progress up into 8th. A few more points for him to try and just mitigate that points loss to Cooney, who's just running away with this one.
Absolutely. We got the graphic on our screens a little bit earlier of the live championship standings. Might have changed yet again, although actually we'll be back to how it was back then as Alcoba's in 2nd place. But Artigas, as it stands, will be bumped way down to about 3rd or 4th position in the championship standings. Not, well, a bit of damage limitation, I would say, but definitely Alcoba's gain at this point. Alcoba and these guys 8.3 seconds behind Cooney now. That ship has sailed. Tate, he is 11.8 seconds behind Cooney, so his pace is increasing. He could well catch these guys. 5 laps to go, could well be possible. There is the number 24 of Artigas. Just behind him, that would be Max Koffler there. So it is damage limitation for the Leopard Racing rider.
It is, but making up another position there. Seems to be getting into the groove a little bit more now. So yeah, definitely every position he can make up and those few more points he can take are really valuable for him. But Tata, yeah, more than half a second last time around, he managed to take out the guys ahead. So could be tight, depending on what happens in this squabble. Obviously, if they really start slowing each other up, that's going to help Tata in no end. But if they do stay similar lap times, you're going to be close enough to maybe have a look. But it may well be a case of running out of laps. We'll have to keep an eye on it.
Well, at the end of that last lap, it was 2.8 seconds between Tata and Holgado. When they come around next time, which won't be too long away, we're in sort of the 3rd and 4th sectors, entering the 4th sector very, very shortly. We'll see what the gap is then. But meanwhile, Garcia has made his way back to the front of this group for 2nd place. With Alcoba just behind and Boutus remaining firm, and Holgado just sitting ever so patiently. I mean, he's almost out on a Sunday ride, just looking at all the melee happening in front of him.
The full Rin style just looks like he's just, you know, open A road ahead of him, maybe stop off for an ice cream.
Or a coffee.
Well, so relaxed, definitely. It looks like he's, yeah, just sitting pretty at the moment there. But this guy certainly has got some serious pedal to the metal. Carlos Tatai, that was Holgado there. And we'll have to look at the gap now. So it's 6 tenths off, 2.2 seconds. So yeah, it is going to be tight if he's going to make it into that fight. But yeah, good pace at the moment, and certainly gives him a shout at that podium battle in the very, very latter stages of the race.
Well, 6 tenths, 4 laps to go. By my calculations, that could be 2.4 seconds he could take, maybe off if he keeps that current pace. And what is the gap at the moment? 2.2 seconds. So he could well do it. Just enter this group, because he's going to have to push on a little bit more. Well, we're keeping a close eye on it here. Still the best laps, major difference there. He's just, and as they get closer, he's going to be seeing that in his vision, going to get him more motivated every single corner, every sector, every lap. He could well do it. Meanwhile, it looks like Garcia's just edged out a couple of bike lengths again there.
Yeah, I think Garcia at the moment looks like he's got the measure of those just behind him, and here is the man of the moment, Carlos Tatai.
He's going to do it, Fran.
Great job for the graphics, guys. Thank you for immediately putting that up with the gap on the last lap around. This guy is on fire at the moment, and yeah, it looks like he might well have enough time to catch this group, and then see if he's got enough time to really get his elbows out and fight to get on the podium as well.
Yes.
But really, really impressive stuff from him at the moment. And yeah, these guys just all line astern again at the moment, fairly calm. Holgado's still there, like you said. I don't think we've seen much of his hand yet, but it's fairly uncharacteristically calm at the moment for a CEV Moto3 race.
Well, it's
so
conditions.
We'll get some, yeah, absolutely, but I think we'll get some fireworks at the end, maybe, when we get some pins pulled.
Well, the good news is, if you are Carlos Tatai, if you're in the top 8, his best lap, he's the only rider in the top 8 who's managed to set a 150, apart from Cooney, who has just done that lap around a 150. So these conditions significantly getting actually quicker at the moment, so no real worry of tyre wear. They're going faster than they have before. Those top 7 all set personal bests on that lap, and Holgado's made a move on Barry Boutus, so he saw the 2 ahead of him, Alcoba and Garcia looking to get away as we come down to turn 3, and he thought, Barry, get out of the way, I need to catch these guys up again.
Yeah, absolutely, and one thing that's just raised my eyebrows slightly on the timing screen, we've now got 2 149s on the board.
My goodness.
And yeah, pretty impressive stuff that. So it's Dennis Onchu, and then another one from Julian Giral. So obviously the conditions are vastly improving, but those 149s, a 149.8 for Onchu and a 149.4 for Giral. So that's impressive stuff. Unfortunately for those guys, it's going to be too little too late, I think. But definitely here now, you can see there are a few gaps.
Yeah, Carlos Tatai might be heartbreak for them though. It doesn't. These guys are starting to turn and screw a little bit, pull away from that group a little bit more. Could well be these two to fill out the final spots on the podium. But Carlos Tatai, well, he could well catch up with Barry Baltus. He's being ditched by Holgado there, who looks to be slipstream in the back of Alcoba. He is in the zone. He can use this to catch him up a little bit more before turns 9 and 10.
Yeah, obviously once they're back in that slipstream zone, it just helps you even more to tag back onto the back of these guys. And Holgado, yeah, made up that distance fairly quickly, but Tatai still a little bit of a Darth Vader march music for the Spaniard. Superb performance continues.
Start the Jaws music, although it's going to have to be the laps of his life coming into these final sectors or so. He might just pick off Barry Baltus. He has well and truly been ditched by these guys. About 2, 3, 4 bike lengths between him and Holgado ahead of him. Going to be coming around. It's 2 laps to go as Cooney has crossed the line. How many seconds ahead of them? 7.9. He's easing off, but well, actually he's not easing off because he's just set another personal best. The guys behind him are just going even quicker. 7.9 the gap now though, but that ship has sailed.
Yeah, definitely just calm and collected is Cooney at the front. Superb performance, and like you said, these guys, you can see now that gap between Baltus and Tatai just 1.2 seconds. Obviously the gap between Baltus and this trio has increased as well, but really impressive stuff from those Spaniards, and these 3 guys now look like they're going to maybe scrap it out for 2nd and 3rd.
As Holgado got a little bit more in the tank with these guys, he has not been scrapping at all during this race. Just sitting there very patiently matching all the times. Has Tatai given up? He was just looking behind him, checked no one straight there, but he's still got Barry Baltus just ahead of him. The gap between him and Baltus 1.2 seconds. It does look like he could potentially catch him. His pace the last time around was nearly a second quicker than Baltus's, but Alcoba's gone ahead of Garcia again. Holgado is there. We're down to turn 8. And, well, it could be Holgado. I'm waiting for a Holgado amazing move up into turn 9 and over the next lap or so.
Yeah, it's going to get pretty interesting on the final lap between these 3. I think we're all starting to get ready for it and looking a lot more feisty in this group, or I should say feistier and follow the grammar rules of English.
Spicy.
But yeah, this is going to be a great fight, I think, and always unfortunate when it's 3 and there's only 2 places on the podium, but these guys already going at it a bit last lap-esque as this.
Yeah, superb move there from Alcoba. He did not let Garcia outbreak him in there, round the outside. Brilliant stuff, using all his experience that he's got there. But he's going to have to defend the defensive line, inside line there. Cooney is coming round. He's going to be starting the final lap, Fran. Fran, are you ready to leg it down to Park Fermi as soon as the flag drops?
I am indeed.
But Cooney, he has got this one absolutely sorted. We are on the final lap then. The interesting nuts will come from this battle for 2nd place. It is going to be between Jeremy Alcoba, Daniel Holgado and Jose Garcia. Will Barry Baltus play any part of this? Holgado has made a move on Garcia for the first time. He's not letting him have it though. Is he going up the inside of Jeremy Alcoba? No, he is not. But there'll be plenty more overtaking spots as we carry on this lap. Well, we're down into turn 6 there, nobody making a move down there. A couple of riders fell here last year at this sort of point, but Garcia just holding a bit of a tighter line there, but it looked like Alcoba with that sweeping line will get a bit more of a run down here towards turn 7. Nobody making a move up there. Garcia had a look at it, but he decided not to. But, well, it looks like Tatai, he's not going to be catching the Barry Baltus just ahead of him, but Baltus isn't quite out of it. If any drama occurs there, Holgado's up the inside, up into turn 8. Garcia doesn't let him have it, though. Wow, what a move that was. That was supreme confidence on the break in there. No way was he letting him have that. We're on the run down now to turn 9. Barry Baltus, with all the melee, has been doing that. They're snaking across the track, all the way to the grass there almost. Well, didn't need to let the gamekeeper have to do any grass trimming there. They did it for him. Down into turn 9, nobody is making any moves there. Alcoba defending supremely, bit wide on the exit though. Will Garcia get him there? He's overtaken him, trying to. Alcoba, is he going to go around the outside again? No! We are into the final complex. Baltus and Holgado go wide. They're out of it. This looks like it could be any disaster. Garcia and Alcoba getting 2nd and 3rd, but it's Yuki Cooney who reigns supreme here. He maintains and extends his championship lead. Who comes around the corner though? It's Garcia leading out the way. And is he going to get it? Yes, he is. Garcia takes 2nd from Alcoba. What a podium that was. What a fight to the end. Fair play to Holgado, Baltus and Tatai as well. Excellent stuff from there. Max Koffler comes across the line as well. Superb stuff from him. And Dupasquier, who the Swissman, finishes just behind him too. But what about this man? I mean, we haven't talked about him nearly enough even, with how strong that performance was. He is so chuffed with that. Jeremy Alcoba gives him a handshake. Fair play, sunshine. You were a level above the rest today. Wow, what a race that was. My voice is going, you can probably hear it. France will be as she legs it down to Parc Fermé as well. That is quite a distance to get down the other end of pit lane. There is Dennis Onju just behind him. Onju, I should say. Shaking the hand of Yuki Kuni. Onju finished himself in 9th place. He'll be disappointed with that, but also probably quite relieved, having just got some points on the board finally this season. We said at the start of the show he could not afford to have any more DNFs. And thankfully for him, that was a solid finish. 9th place, and ahead of them we have the number 50. That was Jason Dupasquier. And then there is Yuki Kuni, your winner. Quite very pleasant Japanese rider, in fact, actually. Part of the junior talent team. Well, isn't that great to see them guys coming over from the Age of Talent Cup, Red Bull Rookies campaign, supporting the riders in the Far East, bringing them over to Spain, bringing them through the Junior World Championship campaign with the aim of someday, I'm sure with the likes of Yuki Kuni, no doubt, into the Senior World Championship. Jose Garcia, well, he put those demons to bed here from last year, where he crashed out in turn 6, did the number 20. No such drama and distraught going home for him. Jeremy Alcoba as well, though, 3rd place. I mean, he'll probably be a little bit gutted he didn't get 2nd, but fair play, lad. 3rd place, held on to it. Holgado and Barry Bautis made their own fates there. They finished, of course, 4th and 5th place. What a race that was here in Le Mans. The biggest stage that these guys have all season long, the only time they join the MotoGP World Championship on their calendar. Although some of these riders join them at other occasions along with the Red Bull Rookies Cup. Here is what happened. This was the 2nd place winning, for want of a better word, overtake from Garcia. Managed to hold him off supremely then, I suppose, into the final sector. And it was actually Holgado nearly hitting the back of Jeremy Alcoba that sent him and Bautis wide. Look at Yuki Kuni, though. How happy was he with that? And supremely defended. Tatai, he will be miffed with that one. So close yet so far. Couldn't quite keep the pace that he was showing just with 4 laps to go or so. What a beautiful shot that was. All the junior talent team squad very happy with that, and as they should be. Well, the riders come into Parc Fermé. There they are. There is your winner, Yuki Kuni. Supremely happy with that one. And I bet it tastes just as sweet, that victory, as all the others have as well. Well, the one other that he's had this year in this championship, as well as the one he's had in the Red Bull Rookies Cup as well. There is Jose Garcia as well, donning the cap. Jeremy Alcoba discussing with his team what happened. That man needs to be in the Senior World Championship next year. Many a years in here, and has always been a front runner. No idea who he's upset in order to not be in the Senior World Championship at this point, but he's doing here, and he's continuing to do great things. Here's Jeremy Alcoba. There is Fran in the background, ready to get those interviews with these guys. Be passing over to her shortly to get the reaction. And that is, of course, the first race that we've had here. Well, 2nd race, in fact. We had the handicap race yesterday at the French Grand Prix, but this is the first race we've had here in terms of World Championship level. The Junior World Championship. Yuki Kuni takes his win tomorrow, of course. The main race day for the French Grand Prix. Kicking things off, Moto3, the senior, in inverted commas, World Championship getting underway at 11 AM. Moto2 at 12:20 PM. And the MotoGP, as ever, at 2 PM. Local time, of course, wherever you're watching from. Set your alarms if you need to, if you're from the Far East or in the Americas. You can see Kaito Toba there, former Asia Talent Cup, the first ever Asia Talent Cup champion, in fact, down there to the right of Parc Fermé. What a win he had earlier this year in Qatar.
So Yuki, saw you yesterday. You said you will see me in Parc Fermé. Here you are. stunning win from pole position and an even bigger championship lead. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, this is incredible race. I'm from pole position. I was beginning, try to full push. Then I know that open the gap, so try to again push the middle of the race. So I get the big gap. So the end of the race, I try to keep them. I can get the first position 2 times this year, so I'm very happy, and thanks to my team, and thank you to family. Thanks.
Perfect. And in Japanese as well, please.
ポールポジションからレースできて、そこからどんどん最初の方で引き離すことができて、ですごい最終的にはすごい大きなギャップで1位取れてとても嬉しいです。チームの皆さん、家族とかにスポンサー方々に感謝してます。ありがとうございます。
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Words from the man himself then, Yuki Kuni, extremely happy with that one, no doubt. And here are then the race highlights. Yuki Kuni taken off from pole position from Jeremy Alcoba. And then were all charged down into the first corner. Carlos Tatai had a great run there, but just got absolutely swallowed. Dennis Onju, that happened to him as well, but second in the first corner. Garcia going up the inside wildly of Carlos Tatai. Cut his nose off, not despite his face though. And a few riders came to grief in that sort of section, but what a race this was. There was Daniel Holgado moving his way through the pack, but it was about these 2 men here. Well, actually, that race sort of finished as it nearly did there. And as the race went on, we saw that battle of 4 riders charging for that second position. Looked like Barry Bowters maybe had the best of some of them, but no, Jeremy Alcoba looked very supreme. But he had nothing for this man, who charged on up to an 8, nearly 9-second lead he had at one point. Of course, we have riders coming in to serve right through penalties, but heading back out again, absolutely no troubles with that. But then, as we saw, Garcia tapping the back of his seat unit, telling Bowters to stay behind him, and he ended up doing so. Not as his wishes though. We saw the battle royale between Garcia and Alcoba rage on through the race. Lap times got even quicker. Didn't even think they were making inroads on Yuki Kuni at some point, but that was not to be. It wasn't long though before Holgado decided to make his move on Bowters. It looks like he ditched him at one point before Bowters turned his screw once again towards the end of the race and caught him up just in the closing stages. But then ultimately it all came down to that final section, and it was Garcia who made this move to take second, but it was all about Yuki Kuni who took the win. Wow. Absolutely superb job from him, and it was Garcia took second place from Alcoba. Holgado and Bowters just held off their Tatai, who had a late charge. He'll be disappointed with that, but no major problems for him there then in terms of the championship. Here are the final results then confirmed. 0.75 seconds was the 7.5 seconds was the lead that Yuki Kuni had across the line. Jeremy Alcoba was third place just behind Jose Garcia. Daniel Holgado leads the best of the rest charge from Barry Bowters. Carlos Tatai. Xavier Artigas had a good recovery race. Denis Onchu even made it up to, well, he was confirmed 8th place in the end overall. Adrian Fernandez in 9th place. Giral, Koffler, Tupasquire, Zanoni. Those were your top 13 riders. So we wait for the riders to come out onto the podium. We'll be getting a look at, of course, the championship standings a little bit later. I can see Raul Fernandez there at the side of the podium, sporting his crutches as a precaution this weekend after his injury. Here is Jeremy Alcoba ready to head out onto the podium. In third place, I think actually I saw Lorenzo Dalla Porta at the side there, former winner here in Le Mans. There is Jose Garcia, second place, but your winner, of course, Yuki Kuni. Well, well, well. Certainly well on the way to winning the Moto3 Junior World Championship. Can he also do something similar in the Red Bull Rookies Cup? Potentially so. That would be, he'll be the first one to have that sort of achievement. They receive the trophies. As the team award goes out there to Yuki Kuni's squad. Vice President of FIM Europe handing out those trophies. And Lorenzo Dalla Porta hands out the third place one to Jeremy Alcoba. Guess there'll be a tinge of disappointment with that, but a podium is a podium. Then we have Raul Fernandez limping his way to hand the trophy to Jose Garcia. Raul will have just watched his younger brother finish in 9th place. He'll be chuffed with that for him. Proper mini-me is Adrian. Photo of Raul. You keep up to date with how their bunny rabbit is doing as well on their Instagram stories, but this will be then the trophy for Yuki Cooney. He'll be keeping every single one of these, I'm sure. Never forget your first victories, especially one on a stage as big as this. But it's time for the race winners' national anthem. Congratulations, Yuki Cooney. A second win in a couple of weeks for him. Well, I'm sure it's a very long and fruitful road for the Japanese rider in his career. He receives the check for a grand in fuel. I'll have some of that, please. That'd be absolutely lovely. Thank you very much. Repsol Garage down the road from my house. Absolutely wonderful. Time for the photos then of these boys. We'll be getting a look at the race highlights very shortly. We'll be getting the championship standings before that, though. Here we are then, championship standings. Yuki Cooney then, how many points to his name? 70, 13 points back though. Jeremy Alcoba, Javier Artigas did a good salvage job there. 17 points back, a singular point behind him though. Barry Baltus, Jose Garcia in 5th from Daniel Holgado. Yusei Yamanaka, he'll be gutted, he crashed out then after that win last time out in Valencia. Davide Pizzoli, podium last time out for him, 46 points back from Carlos Tatai. Aleix Bew, who takes no part in this weekend, he was the winner and pole man here last year, 10th place at the moment. Dupasquia, who is in 11th from Stefano Neppa. Adrian Fernandez, Matteo Bertay, Mario Agiu crashed out as well. Julian Giral, Yuji Kawakami there. Denis Onju though, 8 points on the board for him. That's very important for the former Asia Talent Cup champion, last year's Red Bull Rookies Cup runner-up to his brother. Victor Rodriguez, Gerard Ryu, Haruki Noguchi, your Asia Talent Cup runner-up last year, 22nd place. Max Cook a couple of places behind him. But that is it from Moto3, the Junior World Championship in Le Mans. Next up, well, tomorrow will be race day for the Senior World Championship. What a win that was from Yuki Cooney yet again. A superb job. Can he go all the way in the championship? Well, the next round will be in Catalonia in Barcelona.